Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights. Let's talk about what's been going on at Viking Ice Arena. You've never seen a league so exciting and tough and fast. It simply must be discussed on an equally exciting and tough podcast. What's it called? Monday Night Lights. Yeah. Monday Night Lights. The Tigers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
I thought that was... Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a shit show already. Monday Night Lights podcast is back. These levels could be horrible. Whoop's the loudest man alive. But anyways, I'm Brian Piercy here. Ty, mute your phone because we can hear the sound coming out of it.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, I'm joined as always
Baba Duke's coming at me. I'm just getting ready.
By Andrew Hetes. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. This podcast is going to rival 22.
God, I hope not. I really hope not. But as you guys could already hear, we're joined by two family members. We'll start out with the co-GM, the brains of the North Stars, Mr. Ty Otto. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you. That's a very nice... Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Anyway. All right. I would like to say thank you for having me. It's very nice. As much as I didn't want to come here, it's good to be here now. I'm fully lubricated after going to have some healthy pizza at Shields about 0.3 miles away.
Man, apparently I'm going to have to go get some of that Tito's to loosen you up a little bit more to get you talking, but we'll get that going soon. Our second man of the evening would be Mr. Todd Whoop Auto GM or co-GM of the Seals. How you doing today, sir?
Right. Oh, feeling good. You see that game last night? Livin, living.
Whoop is going to be a tough one. He's about 3 feet away from the microphone. At times he picks up really good. Other times he sounds farther away. You probably get it slightly closer.
All right. Here I am.
That's actually not bad. So
everyone else has to stay like 2 feet away. 2 inches away from the mic, and then like Whoop is like 2 feet. I love it.
Yeah. So
am I in my happy zone now?
No, like I said, I think you were like co-ed choir in like school or something. You just have like that baritone, just like that powerful voice.
So as always, give us a call on the Whoop line 714-75-WHOOP. Email the podcast at podcast@mnlhl.com. Follow, subscribe on Twitch. You have some of those. We're probably coming up with another month that you would have available. Rate and review the podcast. If you're interested in coming on, go to the podcast tab and stats.mnlhl.com. So first thing on the agenda today would be news rumors. Last week, we actually talked about Bender overtime ending after this week. We made a call. The trusted voice said that we thought we should extend it. The Ivory Tower was nice enough to actually look into the issue, and they have decided to extend it through week 14. Hetes, what are your thoughts on this?
That's the president we all wanted that we didn't know we were going to get. It's like when you ask your parents, oh, can I have the RC car? And they actually get it for you, and you're stoked. So I feel all the fans of Monday Night Lights that are, in the league and outside the league love it. I know that these two gems could both probably talk more about that since they probably on the inside of that tower and were able to talk in that discussion, but I'm stoked.
I think my point of logic in the Ivory Tower, I think, swayed the vote in the favor of Bender Lives Matters. Was like, because the last time we went to overtime was for the Americans, and it's like the last 3 minutes of the game or 2.5 minutes of games, all the starters were out there anyways for both teams. So it's like they had their shots at the game. They couldn't get it done. So let the Benders, have their chance to end the game. And everyone's like, yeah, that's kind of right. Because whether it's a tie game or a 1-goal game at the end of the last 3 minutes of regulation, the Stars are just out there. They were out there. The Tigers last night were down 2, and they had 6 guys. And, no problem. Me, Maki, Brownie, and Gibb were just sitting on the bench watching, and we were fine with it. You just watch, let the Stars do their thing. And if they can't get it done, it's Bender's time, baby. And
Ty is having, your brother, the sniper / AKA Mr. OT. I'm sure this was a no-brainer for the North Stars.
Yeah, Mr. OT. Who passed him that puck? I mean, come on. Give me a little credit here. Anyway, yeah.
For the record, I'm just if you go to your brother's profile now and look under it, part of his bio is Mr. OT. So
I see that.
It's a little rough. I don't know what I created here, but I've been like yesterday. I gave him the no-look Magic Johnson behind the back pass, and I'm just giving him all these kinds of opportunities. He has been quiet. He has been nice. But as far as the Bender OT goes, it's what the people wanted. The people have spoken. I was trying to go further and say when the Stars are out there for overtime, the Benders should start the shootout. But because it's like kind of flip flop. I like to shoot. I might not, as it proven yesterday, I need a little practice, but I would like an opportunity to take the shootout. The argument is we only have so much daylight and so much time before the Zamboni gets on, and it would take too long. But my argument was that I think the Stars playing the 3-on-3 will score more often, and when the Stars are doing the shootout as it is, they're not that good. I mean, they freaking go 5-6 rounds anyways. Mm-hmm. I've seen Whoop score on Troy, and I've seen some Benders pull some good stuff. I think I can score some goals. Anyways, I'm fine. I'm glad the Bender is going a little further into the season. I will say that, everyone was pretty much in agreement in the Ivory Tower except for Serda. His vote was not to even let Benders play the second half of the season. He was just he didn't even want to. He's like, I fucking hate Benders. Benders are fucking shitty and fat and out of shape.
Well, I mean, It is true. I've been letting myself go a little bit lately, but I didn't think Serda would notice. But I think it's a good thing. I think maybe on a game that you're in the overtime for is a non-Bender. Maybe it's I'd like to be out there. I'd like to try to score. But I think for everybody watching on the sides, Bender OT is a lot of fun. You watch some, every once in a while someone pulls something nice out of their hat and everybody goes crazy, or someone falls on their ass and does something really stupid and everybody goes crazy anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if a Bender does score too, like when Troy has scored in 2 different overtime games so far this year, and I believe one of your guys' games and went to OT. I think you guys lost in OT one of the games you played or won. I don't remember specifically, but point being, at the end of the day, like when a Bender actually scores, like everyone just loses their mind on the ice, off the ice. It's one of the best scenes we can have in Monday Night Lights. So to have extend it a little bit longer, another 3-4 weeks, I feel is a good median.
Yeah, and I know at least for me, doing a Bender starting in the shootout, I personally don't like that. I know there's been a few times at Troy where before they did the whole, you have 3 guys that can start repeating again, where we were going through that lineup and all of a sudden we're at 7, 8, or 9. It's like, oh, Pierce, you got to go. It's just like, oh, shit, what the fuck am I going to do? I don't have a move. I feel like an idiot out there. I'd just rather not go. So I personally don't like that. It might be fun. There's a lot of guys that like that.
Yeah.
They think they have some sweet moves like a Justin or something.
To set the record straight, I was pro Bender OT and anti Bender shootout.
I think
for those reasons. Not to say that Ty was right. I mean, a lot of these shootouts do go 6 or 7 deep, but it's like realistically they'd go 6 or 7 deep every time if you start with 4 Benders. Because as good as my no move is, let's be honest, it's probably not gonna go in.
I don't know. I think it'd be worth a shot, or at least having something where each team has to put out a Bender to start. I guess for a shootout.
There was the every other one.
Yeah, that would be something I could get behind.
Yeah, every other one might be good.
Yeah.
Start out with a Bend. If you do Star overtime, start out Bender Star, kind of do something like that. You could even consider something if you're trying to solve the shootout problem as general, you could do something how Troy started to do it, where 3 guys must go, but after that, you could essentially have the same player go every time just to try to get those top guys there.
I think the point of the matter is, we got to give the Bender some love, but at the end of the day, Stars still want to have a shootout too. So I think the Bender OT permanently, and then Stars shootout's a perfect balance, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough. We'll see how things go. I mean, we've extended it right now until week 14. It doesn't mean that we can't extend it again or see how things go. I think the big thing would be, we'll go through the standings a little bit later, but if you're going down to the wire for that last playoff spot, it could be a problem where people want to, you have that Bender, OT and it costs you a game or wins you a game. That could be an issue, but I guess if the rules are set ahead of time and as long as people know about it, it should be all good.
We matter. So
Yeah,
if it
Bender's
costs you the
life
game or
matters.
wins you the game, you're forgetting an important part. We do matter. We paid the same amount.
Yeah.
that the-
Exactly.
And it's a very
Yeah,
charming
we don't have a
aspect of the league.
contract. It's not like the Stars are getting $5 million and we're getting 20 cents.
You think I matter, Ty?
I think you
Yes.
matter.
Oh,
I mean, it's like
what a
half,
guy.
it's like half your team. I mean, like so.
Yeah.
I mean, if half of your team loses you the game, then half your team loses you the game. Like they're still part of your team.
Although, Piercy, you're kind of right on that fringe thinking you're not a non-bender, so if there's no bender OT, then you won't even touch the ice in regular OT then.
Oh, whoop out there with the semantics.
I mean, if there's 5 guys to play, well, we'll roll 4 in overtime.
I mean, I am the Proctor stopper, so
Oh.
I mean, those are
What's
all
the
fair
Whalers'
points.
records versus Americas this year?
0-1. Fun fact.
I don't know. Super
What
quick.
are the Seals' record versus the Americans this year?
1-0. Fun fact.
Oh, I thought it was 1-0 and 1-0-1.
You guys played him twice already.
Yeah, we've already beat them twice.
Yeah,
Preseason doesn't count.
super
That's
quick.
all you-
Preseason, that is 3-0. The Seals are the Proctor stoppers. You should see our whole book on the Proctor rules. You know, we stole half of it from the North Star season 1, and we've added on to it.
So super quick as well. I'd like to thank DaveP for the subscription on his Twitch Prime, and it looks like DaveP also gifted a Tier 1 sub to Mr. Proctor as well. I don't know what a Tier 1 sub is, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds fancy. I mean, you think I'd be in IT? You think I understand what like half this Twitch nonsense is? But I don't Fortnite, so I don't know.
Fortnite, Call of Duty, I don't know.
It's all the same.
Next thing real quick on this agenda would be there's a couple MNL sales coming up, just so everybody knows. Starting tomorrow through the 16th, 20% off everything. 29th through the 1st as well, 15% off everything. And if you're looking for small orders, December 2nd might be the way to go. 15% off everything but free shipping. So that actually, if you're buying like one shirt or one sweatshirt, that actually might be the day to go and get that, because I think shipping's somewhere between $5 and $8.
Do they have matching bras and panties so you can get your ladies something back home? No, it's worth a shot.
They do have some women cut tees, some tank tops. We just got some fanny packs in. I heard those are a hot item as well. So
Fanny pack.
I'm way. Are fanny packs back in cool?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I
Who's
figured
the king of
that
fanny
when
pack
I
in the
saw that.
80s?
The iGens brought it back, so your guys like your kids' generation.
Yeah.
you guys
So
brought
if
it
I was
back.
in school, I'd get beat up, and I saw that on Slack, and I'm like, are they trying to get my ass kicked? I'm like, okay, I'm not in school.
Was it
I'm
Clark?
40.
Did Clark Griswold use a fanny pack, or is there, I feel like they're one of the '80s movies. One dad always had them.
yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, fanny packs never went anywhere. They were always here to stay. But
Jesus.
Jesus. Pete.
but yes, moving on to the next subject. Pick'em standings real quick. If you want to see them, just go to pick'em.mnlhl.com. But currently, Dylan actually took the lead, surpassed Dave P. Dave P's in second, a half point behind, followed by Troy Otto, and Andrew Hetes is rounding out that top 4 real quick.
You know how far I was down? I was like in like 20th place, and then your boy just nails 2 weeks.
Well, it helps.
Troy
When,
does
it
pick
helps
up?
when we're winning.
It does.
I didn't do pick'em because I thought it was an OFP prize, so I wasn't eligible to win, so I didn't do pick'em.
No, he
And
didn't
Troy's
wake up
there
in
doing
time.
it?
He didn't wake up in time to get the picks in.
You were always eligible. That was a big thing. Troy was like, I want to win. I'm eligible. So of
Oh,
course
I
the
would have
rest of
won
you.
this easily. This sounds rigged.
Sounds rigged.
The other two Otto brothers are in the contest. I don't think you have any
The
excuses.
Deeks let me down. I went 2-1, but I have also been marching up the standings with our winning streak. Makes it a lot easier to have that good old 1-0 automatically in there.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're
But-
actually watching the Twitch Live broadcast and you see the scroll of the stats and everything, I actually see you're right now in 7th place. So you've been moving up.
I was way at the bottom.
Like Hetes said, he's actually at 2 perfect weeks. We actually gets him that bonus point, so that's an extra point that climbs up. Also, your worst week gets taken out. In some ways, that could hurt people because someone like a Dylan, he hasn't had a 0, so he's gonna have a point subtracted. Where a lot of people have had a 0 week, so that's actually gonna boost you up probably a point versus someone like a Dylan as well. So something to think about.
That. Yeah.
Mr. Pink Whitney is just perfect everywhere he is, and the pick'ems,
Ooh, we should have brought some Pink Whitney
the ladies,
tonight.
you never know.
Yeah, so the main event of the night would be the games, obviously. Starting out with the first game of the night, we had the Mighty Ducks against the Golden Seals, Mr. Todd Otto's team. The Golden Seals defeated the Mighty Ducks 7-1. Todd, why don't you give us a little breakdown of this game?
Oh man, I mean, I think 7-1 speaks for itself. What do you want to say? We curb stomped them. We it was one of the few times this year we get to not hear no bell. We get to rise because we're coming off a loss to the pesky North Stars, who seem to have our number in the regular season, but when it matters in the playoffs, I don't think they've beaten us yet. And we came out angry, and we were supposed to, little known fact, because of Subgate from when the Ducks beat us earlier this year. Believe it or not, the Ducks have been the number one team in Monday Night Lights. And there's some illegal sub issues going on. And we were supposed to start the game on a power play. But then because of all the late subs, because of whether people being sick or the snow, and Busta let us sub up one, having Troy sub in for Leroy instead of Piercy, who wasn't answering his phone. And we were like, screw it. We're like, screw it. We'll do it live. We'll play them straight up. And Pfister scores a goal 7 seconds into the game. And then before you blinked an eye, I don't know, did we score 2 goals on the first shift? I don't know. It was 3-0, 6 minutes into the game is all I know. And then it was 6-0. And then they scored the first. We were fine. We're like, 6-0. We need to win by any more, so we won't score anymore. But then the Ducks, got cocky, scored a goal. It's like, okay, we'll score one more, make it 7-1, and that's how the game ended.
Yeah, this game was, unfortunately for that sub opportunity for me, I was out doing my snow. I come in, I see a text message of, never mind, we found someone, and then I see, oh, you available to sub. So that's my fault for doing my snow, not a big deal. But watching the game, like you said, right off the face-off, Pfister grabbed the puck, scored. Another one, I think 2 goals, like you said, off the face-off. First period, 3-0. Ducks, you had to feel, everybody felt bad. They looked deflated off that first goal alone.
That first frame was 4-0. Correct me if I'm wrong. After the second, it was 6-0 from old Mr. Pfister, old man Pfister told me. So I walked in and it was like the third period. Look at the board, I go, it's 7-1. And I look look around. I'm like waiting for someone to tell me like what the details are. Everyone's in the locker room because the scoreboard said 2 instead of 3. It was the third period, but you guys were just kind of going through the motions. Like you had the puck the entire time. But you guys were just kind of like slinging the puck around the zone, and that's what happens. It's 7-1 or like a high score differential. People just want to get the game over with. So
couple news. One, after that win puts the Seals not only in first place, we now have the most goals scored at 30 and the fewest goals scored against at 15. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I think having the most goals scored and the fewest goals against is a pretty good thing to hang your hat on. Is that correct?
We'll jerk you off later. Anyway,
people were saying the Pfister goal was the fastest in Monday Night history, but I wish maybe Jeremy Cohn would call in, because last year when we, again, implementing Proctor rules, took the opening face-off right to Shawnee at right wing and never went backwards, and he took it straight in on a breakaway. Must have been 5 seconds. He went top glove side backhand on Kohner, and I think that's actually the fastest goal in history. Either way, it's both Seals records, so, art on.
Can I talk? Okay. No, I was on Slack probably around 7 o'clock, kind of throwing it out there that maybe we shouldn't play these games. Maybe safety would be an issue. I just always, we can't talk politics, obviously, but I feel like the league is full of a bunch of snowflakes, but when they come to their hockey, they want to frickin' show up. And I was talking with Todd. I'm like, God, I can't believe how tough these snowflakes are in this goddamn league. They just
you're talking about trying to cancel this week, but you're not the snowflake here?
Well, no, I am in this particular case. I am the snowflake. I'm like, I'm like, Troy's an attorney. Normally attorneys are kind of like lean on the side of safety and cautious. He's like, no, we will not cancel. I was like calling Hazel Park. I'm like, unfortunately, I couldn't get a live person. I was going to say, cancel this shit. So anyways, I'm surprised and happily surprised that everyone's passion for the league is so high, because I put it out there and I'm like, are we sure? I thought I'd get a little traction. Like, it's bad out there, guys. Let's, maybe we shouldn't go. No, immediately snowflake emoji.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
How old are you?
42.
How long have you lived in Michigan?
42 years.
Did you get your license at 16? 17? 18?
16, I think.
16. So you've been driving for quite a while.
Yeah.
26 years.
Yeah, no, I'm just surprised
do you have sand in your vagina right now?
I'm pleasantly surprised.
You can't trust somebody like that.
Now listen. I made a couple of mistakes. I was like, I'm going to get there like at 8:40 because maybe somebody won't show up and I'll have a chance to sub. That didn't happen. And then the other mistake was just showing up for that first game, period, because it was just fucking disgusting. So I just sat in the penalty box and spoke with Weaver the whole time about her feelings. But my 2 notes would be the Ducks. I mean, they need to do something. I don't like the bin Sugar. There's no magic there. I think they need Sugar to be on the grind line by himself and make a nice first line. I feel bad for Ryan Z. Ryan Z there's that little, we had him on our team last year before pre-surgery, and there's those, he can throw a shutout any day of the week, but then there's those times where he's like up, down, and just like pause. You just see the little stutter. You can tell he's an amazing goalie, but there's just something stopping him. And now he's had the surgery, and I spoke to him like, how are the legs doing? And he's kind of like, he gave me the look like I kind of sold a bill of goods. And I'm not blaming the goals. I mean, you score 1 goal.
He was left out to dry.
He was left out to dry. But like that weird general goal was like, it was like he didn't even like.
No, you could ask the Troy or anyone else. I mean, the game could have been 12-1 last night. I mean, he played reasonably well. I don't.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say was that the general, he's gone on his own little personal mission of health and wellness, and he's been a North Star every single season except for this, and of course he shows up 10 minutes late. Shows up, gets 2 goals and an assist, and I thought he looked good out there. He looked healthy. His face looks, wasn't red as a tomato. He didn't look angry. He was kind of, he's building, and I think we match up well against the Mighty Seals. However, General's not even being used properly. They don't even know what kind of a assassin they have out there. And he just quietly. I know. But
how else should we utilize him? Who do you like him to play with?
This is not an attack. This is just a compliment to the general. So please don't take an account. It's not an attack on management. General, I mean, he's an assassin, and I just feel like he's going to be a scary part going forward. And he's just doing the right things. He's looking good out there. The Ducks are just misery. I mean, they just got to figure it out.
We'll talk a little bit about the Ducks when we go into our standings and everything like that. But yeah, I think what you're trying to say is the General's working into shape. He's getting better every week, and he's going to be dangerous come playoff time, which we all know General's that type of player that's a boom or bust. Hopefully he's a boom for the Seals. Hopefully he's a bust for the rest of the league. But let's move on to our next game.
Boom.
We'll find out. Time will tell, baby. But the next game of the night was the Tigers versus the North Stars. The North Stars defeated the Tigers 2-0. Let's start out with Mr. Ty as the guest. Give us a little breakdown of this game of how you saw it.
This game was very interesting because it was, to me, it was almost a complete 180 from the first time we played them. The first time we played them, we had lost all our preseason games, and we had played a few regular season games, and every game we had built on the one prior, and we played well. I don't want to say we outskated them, but Proctor was skating for Matt Taylor, and I feel like I'm not gonna say we outskated them the first game, but
that's fair.
I felt like we kind of did, but then fucking that asshole, fucking 22, every little mistake we went, bink, 1-0, down 1-0, like shot for us. Down 1-0, like a little bitch hanging out on the back door and doing all those things. We're out skating them. This game, I don't think we kind of showed up tired. Judge was like looking like he just woke up. He said he just woke up, and I believed him. We had Pfister, Pfister's a great player. He fucking played his heart out for us, but a Suits.
They're two different.
Suits, his speed he has raw speed, and so that first line, I notice even the most fit people in the league, whether it's Serda or Shawnee, even if they're on their second game, there's just a notch less. And so we had Pfister playing his heart out, but it wasn't like Suits. And normally I have Suits as my speed guy matching that, and he was doing everything he could and played great, and we appreciate him. But I felt like we were not beating them down. I felt we were outshot. Spicy Tender just was fucking like a spider over there. I mean, just jumping on every rebound. Like it was amazing. I mean, up until like the last couple seconds, there's a deflected shot, and you deflected low to the left. I don't even know. I was like, holy shit, thank God.
I was going to say, rumor on the street from Troy was he felt you guys were actually outplayed, but Hetes played good enough to actually get you guys that win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I felt like we more deserved the win in the first game, got our ass beat, And then we went and we played this game, and we really were just slow at the beginning, and we just kind of etched out, got that first goal, and then the second one was a little bit of a gift. The Taylor brothers are intense. I have the first time playing on the ice against Matt Taylor. He's like the Incredible Hulk on skates. And then, Chris Taylor was, same way. He's just intense. He's a scary guy. I'm always scared because when I ref against him, he fucking gives me the nastiest looks. He's actually nicer when I play against him, but he's the first OFP client from the league. I remember the day. Hey, Chris, I hear you're looking for a house. Hey, Ty, yeah, sure I am. I'm like, I can show you a house. He said, okay. And then the rest was history. But ever since, he's been giving me bad glares in every game I've ever reffed. He gives me these fucking I'm going to kill you looks. And,
how much was the percentage? How much you guys take? I mean, shit, 50%? Like fuck.
No,
he's giving you guys
no,
glares.
he's just right. He's nicer when I play against him. When I ref, like the last game, the Tigers against who was it? Tigers against the Deeks, and I mean, he was fucking. I don't even remember a bad call against him. I know the onside, and he was looking at me fucking with his red face and go. I'm like, I don't even remember a bad call against you. I remember other ones, and I was he scares me on the ice when I'm reffing, but he was very nice, but very competitive, and I think we're very lucky to get out of that game with a win.
So, Hetes, as the goalie for the North Stars, what did you see last night?
Hey, look, Piercy, great teams find ways to win, even when they don't play their best. We probably got outpossessed, maybe like 55-45, 57-43, and I probably did get outshot 40-20. But that being said, some surgical changes by North Stars management mid first period to switch Judge to the second pairing. So then it was Judge and Maff going up against Slocum. And Skillman really helped out Troy and Sikorsky, and it kind of allowed Judge to go up against the second pairing defense. So he would skate the puck in the zone. On his rushes, he wouldn't face first line defense. That helped. And then being able to also putting him in the second pairing also helped getting the puck out of our zone, so we could move the puck up quicker up the ice with one touch counter passing. Because a lot of times we'd get the puck deep in our zone, we look up, and in the first period, and we didn't have anyone to pass to. We were just kind of icing the puck out. We were kind of scrambling. So. Overall, the Tigers, I agree with Ty. The first time we played the Tigers, I thought we maybe outplayed them a little bit, maybe like a 52-48 sort of thing. It was pretty close, so if we maybe outplayed them, outshot them by a little bit and lost. This time, I felt like the ice was definitely tilted in the Tigers' favor, and I stopped some shots. I was a little motivated with Officer Aaron out there, not subbing for me on Sunday. And then Matt Taylor's on the Wednesday team. And he always snipes me warm-ups anyways on Wednesday, so I'm like, I can't have him scoring me in a game either. So,
hey, I'll say this. Sometimes good teams, they win games they shouldn't. That kind of shows you that fight in a team. I think for you guys, I heard Troy had another goal, which he's been on a hot streak, and it sounded like Cunningham had a breakaway as well for the first goal, I believe.
Correct, first goal. It was off the face-off. It was a little bit like a face-off win, and I think someone threw it at Brawny. Or threw it towards between Brawny and Decon, and Decon just chipped it over Brawny's stick and then went all the way down. So that was another instance of kind of like our D's kind of like throwing it into like empty space and letting the forwards go on and get it, which against the Tigers is what we kind of needed to do because without Sutsy there, Feaster on a second game, and just the way our team is built, we're a little bit slower than they are. I think. I mean, most teams in the league are probably a little bit slower when Matt Taylor's there and the Tigers are full strength, but. So we kind of played the old counterattack in Liverpool. Shout out to that hoodie right there, Liverpool.
Build from the back.
Built from the back, baby.
Now we play.
Yeah. Moving on to the last game of the evening, we had the Whalers versus the Nordiques. The Whalers won this matchup 5-2. I'd say it was a tough game. Nordiques are a good team. First period 0-0 at the end. Both teams skating hard. I would give the Whalers, a 55-45 advantage in that side of things, and then. Trent had a nice slap shot, that blast for the first goal of the evening, followed by, I think, a tip-in goal by him as well, and a DaveP goal that made it 3-0. They came back down, got a counter goal on us by, I'm trying to think. I can't remember who scored the first
did
goal.
Pistol play last night?
Pistol did play last night.
I was confused on Slack whether he was there or not.
He had to have gotten a goal because he had 4 goals in the stat sheet, so... And he didn't have 4 goals before today. No, he did have 4 goals. It was an assist. I think he got some sort of points last night. So.
And was Trent already a member of the Hat Trick Lounge?
I don't know if he was.
So how many hat tricks
not.
did we have last night? By like Trent, Shawnee was already a member.
I think it was just those were the only.
I think
two.
those two had it. So then we came back. Trent with another goal to give us the 4-1 lead. And then a little bit of controversy for the Nordiques' second goal. There was feeling if it was covered up or not by Cam. He was kind of stretched out. People were kind of touching him, hitting him.
Well,
the
did
goal
the
got
whistleblower didn't blow?
The net
came off. It looked like it was partially covered. I heard stuff from Nordiques that it possibly went in and Cam was able to pull it back out. Then it went in again. Wright ended up getting that goal to make it 4-2, essentially right at the 2-minute mark. They actually were talking about the goal.
Oh, you can't take it away from Jay Wright?
Yeah, I mean, the clock went down to 1:30, and then they put it back up to 2 minutes because that goal would have went to the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Serda ended up getting an empty netter to clinch.
Wow, that break the point streak there for Serda, huh? He's got a goal. That's good. He's getting on the goal train.
Word on the street is Serda really wanted that goal. He was getting a little chirped by the new Deke super
we'll
sub.
get to that in a second. But yeah, Serda actually, him and Trent are right up there in our points. Right close to each other. One of the funny things is Peso, when you could tell we're like 30, 45 seconds left in the game, Peso's like, I really want to get out there, get a goal. I got to get on the scoreboard for a goal, but he didn't get out there. Serda got the goal. So, very nice for the Whalers.
Peso still at 0 for
Peso
Whalers?
is at 0 goals, 6 assists, and Serda only has
El Paso.
Serda only has 1 goal. He has 2 goals, but one of them is an empty netter. So
I mean, the Whalers have not scored. I'm trying not to look past them next week. It's hard to do because I just feel like I honestly just feel like there's. If you look at our lifetime record against them, it's just like pretty much.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but I'm gonna have to do something. I
realize that we're total franchise with contracts, and it's the same team every year you play.
Well, it's trying,
really mean a lot.
I mean, it does feel like if there are any organizations that feel the same. I mean, number
Every
one
year.
would be the Whalers because your top 2 players are Trent and Serda. So I mean, the North Stars definitely feel the same because we've had the general most years, but we're at the bottom, so we're not. Troy and I are at the bottom of the draft, so it's not quite as there. But the Whalers always feel like the same assholes every year.
But to your point on the Whalers, we scored 5 goals last night. We have 18 on the year, so that was our nice outbreak. It was nice to get one of those games in. Hopefully, we'll kind of keep it going. We've had a little bit more scoring the last couple of games. Maybe we're finding our groove. Maybe we aren't. The Whalers still haven't played a game with all 10 guys together.
I was about to touch on that in the OFP power rankings that were controversial that Troy released yesterday, and that's be my point that you guys had about the Whalers was you guys have been largely there's 2 teams. You and the Deeks have been largely anemic so far this year when it comes to scoring goals, but last night was a nice change of pace. I mean, you guys kind of burst out for 5, which is maybe that might be the nutcracker you kind of have to get to start the goal scoring trend.
Yeah, and last thing on this game was potential long-term sub for Drager. I think it was Gumma. I'm not sure.
Gunma.
Yeah, he played. I think it's too early to actually say if he should be a long-term sub or not. If I had to say skill-wise, he's probably slightly better than Drager in pretty much every area. If I had to say right now, I'd probably lean towards no. I know talking to Gio, he'd probably say he told me he didn't think it was a fair sub as well. The funniest thing there was after the game, he went up to Serda and he started talking shit about he's like, oh, your team's when you get in the locker room, going to give you some shit for that empty netter, aren't they? He's like, Serda's like, who are you? What the fuck's going on? So, I mean, that's a plus there that he was talking shit to Serda, some guy he doesn't know on there.
Yeah, but that's not Monday Night Lights, baby. We play till a bell.
I agree. Everybody in this league's trying to get those.
So we got stat sheets.
So was he. He was playing to the bell. He couldn't do anything. The goal already happened. So he was chirping his shit. I love that.
Yeah, I know. I got nothing wrong on either side of it.
I guess for me, it's like, yeah, you definitely, if you want to stop them from scoring a goal, then stop them from scoring a goal. I guess my thing would, if it's a fucking Peso cheer going up 3. So if the empty netter gets you up 2, that's worth cheering about because you're only up 1. The pressure's on. They got the extra skater. You score. That's worth cheering. If you get the fucking, you get the bonus goal and you're up 3 and you start. I can't imagine Serda was doing
Serda's
I'm sure there was no Selly.
Serda's a classy man.
Yeah,
he wasn't celebrating.
Yeah. So I don't have any problem with it.
I totally agree. If Peso would have scored, he probably would have been like,
tiger fist thumbs. Yeah, that's a little obnoxious.
Doing a worm on the way to the bench.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so like we were saying before, Troy's power rankings, we'll kind of just run through them real quick. Then we'll kind of go around the room and say what you agree with or anything you really agree with, anything you really disagree with. He's got the Americans currently number 1, North Stars 2, Seals 3, Tigers 4, Whalers 5, Nordiques 6, and the Mighty Ducks 7th. So I'll actually start this out. I'm going to say this again. Seals are way too high. To me, they should be number 5.
I mean, so Power Rangers are what have you done for me lately? We just won 7-1. If I'm not correct, that's the largest margin of victory
So far
in the
in
league.
this league, yeah. Because the last largest margin of victory was Americans Ducks 7-2.
What else do we need to do for you guys to be what? And did I just tell you we got the most goals scored, fewest goals against? Hey, you put us wherever the hell you want us to be. I prefer to be down here, chip on the shoulder. But
So
you guys are on crack.
What was Troy's power rankings? It was
Americans 1, North Stars 2, Seals 3. This was his revised
redacted,
one.
yeah. Okay, Seals 3. Yep, keep going.
Tigers 4, Whalers 5, Nordiques 6. But yeah, to me, Seals, they're the team.
So we're back over here. I'd go North Stars 1 because they're on a hot streak and they've been the best lately, the Seals. And then Seals 2, Americans 3, and then I'd go Whalers 4.
I'm kind of similar. I'm kind of similar to yours, but I have the Americans 5. Why? Because their last 4 games, they're 2-2. They've lost to the Seals. They lost to the Tigers, which arguably at the time were the 2 other best teams in the league. And their last win they got was against the Ducks. It wasn't emphatic. It wasn't like your guys' win, which was 7-1. So for me, they're on the bye. If they weren't on the bye, they probably could be flip-flop with the Tigers or the Whalers. But I have the Whalers at number 3 because they're the only other team in the league right now that's on a win streak. They're on a 2-game win streak. So for me, it's North Stars, Seals, Whalers 3, Tigers 4, because it was as Troy says, quality loss, and which was, I mean, they outplayed us, probably outshot us 2-1, but
so we're in agreement so that Piercy's a jackass. So the Seals are too high at 4, wherever.
Americans 5, Deeks 6, because there's a gap. There's between that 5th team right now and the Deeks. The league's starting to kind of separate. Where it separated about 4 games ago at like the 7-game mark. Or 6-game mark, excuse me, after the 7th week, where you kind of had like 2 teams at the bottom, 2 teams at the top, 3 in the middle. It's starting to separate again where there's like 5 teams at the top and 2 at the bottom again. So it'll be interesting to see the next 3 or 4 games here before we go into the 3rd rotation of games if it stays like that, where you have 5 teams competing for the top 2 spots and 2 bottom teams just trying to get into the playoffs, or if it kind of separates again into the cream of the crop where it's like a 2-3-2.
What are your thoughts, Ty?
I'm actually fine. I think those are actually pretty much perfect. I would note that if this was any other season, I think Troy would definitely have the North Stars 1 like 2 weeks ago. However, I think we're more modest. We're building from the back. We're building from, we've had a tough start, and we've just found ourselves, and we're on a roll. So I'm happy to be patient this year. The American, I actually agree with Spicy. As far as the Americans go, I'm not a firm believer, but I'm fine leaving them at 1, although I'm very curious to see how they, I'm expecting us to blow the shit out of them.
Is it North Stars Americans next week?
No, we play the Whalers in this upcoming week.
American?
Yeah, I thought it was the Americans, but I'm not a firm believer that they are the best team. And I think the Seals, Tigers, and North Stars are the best 3 teams. But I'm fine with those rankings as of now based on what we've seen. I think we match. The Tigers are going to be a freaking tough game every time we play them. Like, they are annoying every time you've got that Hulkster on skates. He's scary.
Skillman's in the corners with you grinding out.
Yep.
I feel
Slocum's really good.
I feel comfortable. Like, both games against the Seals, even the first game we lost against them, and we hadn't even played many games and we were shitty. I still felt like we hung with them. Like, for some reason, sometimes you match up better with other teams. Like, I couldn't even fathom losing to the Whalers next week. They're just so bad. I mean, if they get more than 1 goal, I'll fucking shit my pants. That being said, I mean, I honestly, I couldn't. So that's why really I'm going to have to fire up. I'm going to have to really fire myself up because, in the Nordiques, when we did the pool, like the pick'ems, I picked the Nordiques last just because they're terrible management, the worst GMs ever. They've got 1 Luxac season. We're getting Proctor, but they are the worst. They have the most terrible decisions. They don't know how to make lines. They're just horrible. And I feel for the Ducks. It's going to be a battle between the Nordiques and the Ducks for last. Pete, I think Pete keeps the Nordiques out of the cellar because he's got tons of pride.
Andy Fem's got more goals than Pete right now in this season.
Yeah, but Pete's the heart and soul of the team, and he's got that old man craftiness and heart and will. So, I mean, to me, I'm the most the thing that I'm interested to see is how the Americans do now that we all caught. I mean, they always have 22. They got the ace up the sleeve, Proctor, but I'm not a firm believer that they are as good as I still think it's a Seals, Tigers, North Stars race to the top. So
I'm going to ask this question to Hetes because he's probably outside of me the most analytical.
What is that a?
Well, I'm not an analytical man. I can almost say the word.
Not at all. Anyways, here's the question I have for you. We've changed the rule recently about the sub-ups. No sub-ups, sub-downs. All of a sudden, we start seeing some teams playing better, some teams doing worse. Is it because of that? And is it because some teams were actually more of a fraud than we were giving them credit for because they were subbing up because half their team was gone?
I think I don't want to say that was the exact cause. I think it's a little bit of correlation, not causation. That was possibly part of it. For example, going into the beginning of the season, Tigers, Americans, even the Steels to a certain extent. I mean, when the general out after like the first 2 games, he was out a game or 2, I think. So there's a couple teams that were just missing guys in the beginning of the season. It's one thing if you miss one guy and you're subbing in, like a pick, like above or 1 down or 1 up, whatever else. But like the Deeks subbing in like Sugar for Fem against our first game of our season. I mean, it's subgate, whatever else. It's fine. Yeah, it happened. It was legal at the time, so it was whatever. But I mean, that's kind of like that's a big difference kind of between like player types and player roles. It's kind of like when we sub Feaster in for Suits yesterday. There are 2 different type of players. Where like Feaster's kind of like the Shanahan, like float, like kind of grind out in the corner and like crafty, score. Whereas like Suits is like fed off 100 miles an hour, kind of take the puck up the ice.
Is it Feaster and not Fister?
It's Feaster, but we call him Fister in the
We call him
sales
Fister,
Okay.
yeah, because it's spelled like like a fist, like
Gotcha.
fist hurt.
Yeah, that's what I always.
The emoji,
Yeah, and I know
hand,
I'm familiar with the emojis.
Kinda
He texted.
like a
Sorry for caring.
gynecologist.
He
just
texted me that he texted me how excited he was to be a North Star, and he produced, and I mean, to the chagrin of their goaltender, he was very upset, and Dylan took a while to find out it was a joke, but
It did take Dylan a second.
Dylan,
He's like, what?
He was furious. He was irate. He's like, how could my fucking?
You gotta love Dylan, baby. He bleeds seal green and yellow.
Then Todd, over here is when you have someone missing, how much are you looking to replace him based on strategicness of your team? What position you need versus talent? Does talent win out, or are you trying to fill a role fills out?
I mean, if there's a big enough discrepancy, oh God, say the word, but talent, if the gap is big enough, if the gap is close, then we'll go by need base. But if the talent is so much bigger than the need, we'll take talent and figure out the rest.
And Ty, how much do you and your brother discuss that? Does your brother take control? Do you take control? How much of that's a team effort versus a one-man show?
For what
for like subs, for strategicness, how do you handle
when
that?
we're going well, you can bet your bottom dollar that I had something to do with it, the decision. But when we're going, typically like the last, Troy will like the bigger the game, he gets fucking antsy, and he'll it will be like the playoffs, and it'll be like 8 a.m. I've already got the subs all lined up. I'm like, who? Vape. I'm like, okay. Or it will be like something horrible, something terrible, like.
Vape's on fire this season. He's got
that's fine.
He's got,
But
the September,
and he has
see that little boner everywhere around.
He has one. He has redeemed himself as a North Star, but his playoff record is abominable for us. And so I would
that lines up with the North Stars though.
Exactly, but he always gets us out into an 0-1 deficit, and I love Vape. But I would say Troy texts nonstop with everybody. I think probably in the league.
Facts.
So yes, I get text messages constantly going over it, and like the first 5 games of this season, including the preseason, it's like 89,000 different combinations, like for us, and that's what's part of our problem. We didn't know what we were. Like we were finding things out. We were figuring out who was who, and Troy's just switching the lineup every single he wanted to switch every period. Like it was just like, okay, well then we'll do the second period this and the other. Like we don't even know each other's names or anything. So to answer your question, we discuss it a lot. I'd like to think that I calm him down a little bit because he likes to just get it going and get it, jump at it. I give my input, and I think it's taken more than you would think, Piercy, with your condescending eyes.
Back really quick to the Seals idea on skill versus need. During the draft, I mean, we only had 3 defensemen. Then we drafted Allensy and Pellet, knowing that neither one could find a defenseman, but we thought they were clearly the best players on the board. I'm like, we'll figure out a defenseman later. and it took us all of one shift to realize that Pellet's a winger and Z's a defenseman, and we'll see. I don't think Alan Z will go in the 7th round ever again in Monday Night Lights. He'll probably be a 5th or 6th, even a 4th rounder, because he's obviously clearly the man on defense.
He's been playing some good defense. He's always had a nice shot, a nice slap shot. So it works well
2 assists
there.
yesterday with the Seals for the point. He's got 2 goals on the Seals. I think he got 2 more assists in the Nordiques game last night for the Whalers.
I know he had minimum 1, so I don't know about the other ones.
Either way, he claims he was +8 on the night between the 2 games, and Alan Z isn't one to embellish, so I'll take him at his word. +8's pretty damn good.
So let's move on to the standings then. Currently, I know Whoop will be happy about this. The Golden Seals are in first place with 18 points, followed by the Americans.
What's their goal differential?
We'll get to that in a second. Americans second, North Stars third, Whalers fourth,
Can you repeat that
Tigers
one more time?
fifth,
Who's in 3rd place again?
the North Stars.
Oh.
North Stars fourth, Tigers fifth, Deeks 7th. Mighty Ducks are in last place right now. For the record, though, we got to throw it out there. We have the Seals, we have the North Stars, and we have the Nordiques and the Ducks. They've all played 9 games, where the Americans, Whalers, and Tigers have played 8 games. So if you actually look at this, if you want to say the driver's seat, the Americans are in the driver's seats with winning their games about being able to pass it up. Same thing if you want to say 3rd, 4th place. The Whalers are actually in that driver's seat on that side of things too with the games played. So it's really hard to say because we got to kind of get through a round to see it even or not. But with those goal differentials, there is a clear cut with the Seals 15 in that goal differential, followed by the Americans 9th. After that, it kind of tightens up to a bunch of the North Stars, the Whalers, and the Tigers. We have a 2, -3, and 1. And that bottom is kind of the clear-cut differential where we have the Nordiques and the Mighty Ducks at -9 and -14 apiece.
I mean, you can account the -14 the Ducks have, though, to 2 games they've lost 7-1, 7-2. If those are closer and those are just like 3 or 4 goal losses, their goal differential isn't that bad. So as much as everyone and us in the room here and the rest of the league go, oh, the Ducks, the lowly Ducks, they aren't so mighty anymore. It's Duck season.
Beating the Seals. We're 1-1 against them.
They're not that. They're still for losing as many games as they had this season. They're only 2 games back of the Deeks. And this week, they have a bye while the Deeks play against the Americans. The Americans are looking to secure a top 2 spot again. So, hypothetically, if the Deeks were to lose next week, the Ducks are only 2 games worth of points back, and they have a game at hand, and they have to play the Deeks. So, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, the Ducks could catch them before this rotation's even up.
I did my part today. I was a good Samaritan of the league because I just don't like to see. I feel bad because I know how Sugar takes these things, and I texted Turtle and I texted Busta and I said, I said, you guys aren't as shitty as it seems. Don't think terrible about yourselves. I know you think you're the worst, and you're not the worst. You're probably the second to the worst if you really put things together. I sent a bunch of line recommendations. I said, this is what if I were, because I'm like the best GM in the league, I'm like, this is what I would do. You should probably heed this warning and just do what I say exactly, word for word, because you guys aren't that good. They didn't answer, but I know that was just because they were thinking about what I texted them, and they were considering it very heavily. But no, they're not bad. They have dude, they can put.
There's a point there where if you play the Ducks, you gotta try. Obviously, it's not an easy game. It's not a. I don't think there's any gimme games this year. But obviously, kind of looking at their team before the start of the season, I kind of disagree. You could say throw out their worst game or 2, but you could go with any goal differential where hey, throw out their best game, throw out their worst game, and all of a sudden that could swing stuff huge. So I just think you got to look at the sum of it right there. It doesn't tell everything because you can have those good and those bad games. But, you take out the Whalers' goal differential last night, and all of a sudden it's just like it looks a lot worse. Or you take out, I think the North Stars, they actually beat us by quite a bit. You throw that game out, all of a sudden we're a positive, goal differential. So it's always hard to say that type of thing. But I think the main thing is right now we're looking at a Nordiques, Mighty Ducks, those 2 at the bottom. We have a 10 and we have a 6. They're looking like the clear race currently for that bottom spot. What what team is going to pull a trigger to try to make a move first? Or should they? Should they feel good about their team? Should they let things ride? Or do teams need to get desperate and try to make a move?
You want to answer? You want to go, Whoop? Yeah, hit it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been paying attention to trade stuff because the Seals ain't trade, baby. We're art all the way to, we'll see how far it takes us. This is like year one. It's not maintained. We haven't been atop the standings like this since year one. That's where you came with the mantra, art.
So you're telling me if you get an offer that's going to make the Seals better, you just don't care and you're not.
No, I'm not stupid. I'll listen to every offer. I just don't think there's going to be an offer on the table that could make us better.
So let's go to the rational.
We haven't.
Auto
With that said,
in the
we
room.
have not one team has even offered us a trade or even asked, "Hey, would you consider trading?" Because I think you look at a roster and if you go back through the draft, there's probably 4 or 5 rounds where you could say we won that round. So it's very difficult to trade with the Seals right now.
I agree. The Seals lucked out with the pellet. What are your other good ones? I mean,
Pfister second round.
The general, if he's deciding to be health and wellness.
General
I mean,
5th round. LNZ in the 7th round.
To be honest,
Dylan in the 6th round of goalies.
Honestly, Whoop, you took 4 flyers and they've all panned out so far.
Yeah,
So.
and
Similar to that Proctor flyer we took year one. How did that one work out?
yeah. So
I mean, it happens.
To be honest, this is 100% honest, and I don't even know if the Ducks should consider trading. I mean, the trade that came across my phone, I almost dropped my phone because I'm like, they can't be this dumb. I mean, we were gonna get. I don't want to say.
You don't need to dive into semantics.
Yeah,
but
we don't need to divide it. I was just shocked because we were gonna definitely be better, but I didn't. We were just feeling good mojo. And I like our players. I feel like we're doing the right things, and I didn't want to trade away the players that were named in our trade. But I told Troy it was a 3-way trade between the Ducks, the Deeks, and the North Stars. And I just looked at it like, what are the Ducks thinking? It was just a panic move, and I honestly did not do it for 2 reasons. A, I don't have the heart to tell the players that we were gonna have to give up because I think they were 2 that actually enjoyed being on the team. And I just thought, what are the Ducks thinking? Because they were like giving up way too much. So I didn't want to do it just for multiple reasons. It just didn't feel right. Although it would have made us way better. Not way better, but it would have made the Ducks terrible. And I was just like, what are they thinking? Like they just need to mix their lines up a little better. They have talent on their team.
That's the biggest struggle. I think it's been indicated to Busta by a few people, unnamed people in the league, myself included, on the Blue Party deck the past 2-3 weeks here, that the whole sugar and bin line, while it's stellar and while they also are top 10% in the league in points because they're 6 and 7 in the league in points, that's having one super great line and then kind of throwing your second line to the Wolves may not be the right build for the Ducks. Unfortunately, unlike some other teams in this league, like the Seals to a degree, or the Whalers, because Trent can play forward or D, or like the North Stars, we got like 5 defensemen. Sikorsky's a natural defenseman that plays forward, etc. They don't really have that option where they have like a 5th defenseman, so they can rotate a guy, change, maybe make Oliveri play forward and rotate Jim Ellis back on D. They don't really have that. So for them, they're kind of in the same spot as the Nordiques are, where if they trade a piece, it has to be kind of a 1-for-1 piece. The best thing that the Ducks could possibly do to change their lineup would be, like you were saying, like you'd have to split up the sugar bin combo and get someone else rolling with Bauer, and then with Turtle, whoever subs with Turtle, and then have Bauer play with Sugar and just tell Bauer to crash the net like he's doing. His Sugar is so fast. I mean, sometimes it's like he's out there on the ice by himself. If they don't like that sort of option, like we kind of mentioned earlier, maybe they could go a trade route. If they were going to trade, I would like to see him trade maybe a higher end piece. So maybe your 3rd or your 2nd round or whoever it is. So a higher end and a lower end piece to a team for 2 middle pieces. And one of those middle pieces can play defense, and then you can move Oliveri up the forward. And you get, here's an example for the Deeks, right? So let's say the Deeks and the Ducks trade. So maybe the Ducks trade Bin, I think is their 2nd rounder, right? And get the 3rd rounder from the Deeks, who is Gio. And then they move Jim Ellis, who is their low round guy, for whoever's in 9th for the Deeks, like Drago. And let's like say, hypothetically, in this situation, Drago plays defense. Then they could move Oliveri up on forward, have Drago on defense. Then you have their defense would be like Brawny on one line, Rubel on the other line, paired with Gibb and or Drago. So their defense is still solid because they have one good guy on both lines. And then their forwards have like Oliveri and Oliveri, Bauer, and Sugar, and then like Oliveri, Gio, and Sugar or something, and bust on second. You'd have 2 and 2. It'd be like a two good players on both lines and 2 benders sort of thing.
Do we know when Turtle comes back?
Originally, from what I was hearing, it was about 6 weeks. He's been out at least 3 or 4 already, so I'm thinking probably somewhere between 2 and 3 is my guess, but I also don't know if that was, obviously he's probably going to want to go checked out, make sure he gets cleared, so it could be longer, but it's a tough thing. And I think I did notice in last night's game, they did move Rubel to center on the second line, but the problem there is now Rubel's kind of out by himself, where I agree with you, I think you got to split up Proctor or Ben and Sugar.
I think, hypothetically, the Sugar, you throw him on an island on the first line and be like, your goal is to play even hockey versus the other team's top line.
Exactly.
Have Sugar embrace that because he's good enough. Be like, okay, you're not trying to score. You're not leaking out early. You are trying to play even hockey some way, somehow. And then you put Ben and Turtle on the second line and be like, okay, we're going to win a lot of 2-1 games, and it's going to be our second line outproducing the first line. And I don't know all their defensemen. I don't know if you put Rubel with Sugar on the survival or if you put Rubel on the second line, but I think that's the way you got to go.
They pair Rubel and Gibb together, and then they have Rubel and Oliveri and Brawny and Gibb together.
Yeah, so I do Oliveri and Brawny with Sugar to just say, hey, we're going to stop. We're just not going to give up goals against the top line. And then, because Rubel's great and he's a good defensive-minded player, but if you put him on a second line with Ben and Turtle following up, that's a formidable second line where they'd be favorites half the game on the second line, and Sugar would have to embrace just playing even hockey if they want to win. I don't know if that would work, but that's what I would do.
But even if you throw something like a Sugar, a bust with a Bauer, Sugar is one of those guys where he'll leak out. You look for that breakaway pass. You hope he can do something on a one-on-one against a defense and get you a goal or two, and then you hope that your second line can get a couple goals. But I don't think it's necessarily a gimme if you throw something like a Ben and a Turtle on a line together to say, oh, they're going to go out and score a bunch of goals, because I think when we start looking at second lines have gotten a lot better since last year. If you look at it like you have a DaveP and a Peso, or, your guys' second line where I'm trying to, it could be any combination. I know you guys got your, Cunningham and Suits on one line, and then your other lines. Like, there's not a whole lot of lines that you look at that second line and you're like, we're going to eat those guys up anymore. So I don't think it's as much of a, we're just going to kick that guy's ass. The Seals, Neville's a good defensive player. You have a Rattler in there. You're not just going to dominate those guys.
Yeah, and then you have General.
General's
Rattler.
on the first line now.
Okay. So Pellets.
Where would you, Mister? We're underutilizing General. Where would you put him on the Seals line?
First line, baby.
It wasn't about anything that you can do.
Oh, I took it personal.
As far as lines, I was saying, I had a ton of apples my North Star career the first 3 years, and the only reason was because I just fed the general. Just feed the general. What I'm saying is when he's out there, he's kind of, you have an amazing line. So, if you want me to get lotion out and jack you off right here, I will. It's an amazing line, and you're not even reaching your potential because General's kind of out there.
Well,
you don't even
in 6 weeks.
Exactly.
You got 3 points.
You're taking something as like a negative. I'm just being nothing but kind and saying you've got nothing but good things coming to you. But I don't know what else I can say to just, the General is just he's rising for you. And he's got nothing but good things to come. So, that's all I was saying.
And at the same time, with the Nordiques, I'm hearing rumors that Drager is working the phones a lot, looking at what's out there, seeing if he can get a deal done. I don't know what
our phone
anybody else
hasn't
is.
rang.
Well, you just said earlier today, Whoop, that you're not trading anybody, so I don't think your phone's ever going to ring the rest of the season.
I listen.
You're listening for, what? Only area you're going to improve on is what you're going to trade, like Alan Z for an actual defenseman, and then have Alan Z play forward.
Alan
somebody
Z's
else.
not tradable.
Okay, so then there you go. Someone's gonna be like, hey, Whoop, let me trade for Pfister.
I was said tongue in cheek.
Exactly. So the Seals on the Mount Everest, and no one's gonna trade the Seals. But there's a few other teams in the league, but they're in the middle of the pack right now, and some teams in the bottom that would probably consider a trade. A team like the Deeks and a team like the Ducks could probably do a trade amongst themselves and maybe try to get one team better, just to jumble something up to see if it would work. Because the Deeks are pretty anemic scoring themselves. They were the lowest scoring team before I believe the Whalers scored last night on them.
They were worse than the Whalers?
Yeah, and I think they're
Wow.
actually worse right now.
It's hard to imagine.
But I mean, they were scoring only 1.21 goals a game before 2 weeks ago, and right now they have scored 14 goals in 9 games. That's not even a goal and a half a game. So, I mean, they're not really giving counter support back there. So something amongst those 4 forwards they had needs to change, and maybe trading for the Ducks, maybe trading like doing a GM swap, or you trade like, or you end up trading like your third rounder, the Ducks' third rounder, which is Turtle, and their 8th or their 7th for like Panty in the 8th, and the second rounder of the Deeks, and just flip like Pete and just flip flopping them and just to try to start something on both teams might be the way to go. But I mean, both those teams are probably in the upcoming weeks here to be looking for a trade, especially the Ducks, because they have a 2-week bye, and they have a lot of time on their hands to kind of work the phones and look at possibly either changing something in-house with their team, or maybe going out and reaching out to another team and trying to find a piece that fits.
So this one's not necessarily for the Autos because they're both GMs, but hypothetically, if you got traded, Hetes, to the Ducks, what would your reaction be, and how would you be going into a locker room like that?
Well, I already told the Ducks, and I think they know that, and Busta and Kyle Bauer them, that I would, like, even though I hate the color of the jerseys, I've always wanted to be a Mighty Duck. I love playing Mighty Ducks. Like, that's a thing. So if
Troy, make it happen.
If I got traded,
Troy,
to the
make
Ducks,
it happen.
If I got traded to the Ducks, I wouldn't be mad. I'd say, hey, we're going back to the playoffs, boys, because I started the quack chant and it worked when I was on this team. So, but that's beside the point. I think they just need a little something to rally around on their team to start, and then kind of go from there. I mean, we were kind of in the dumps after our first 3 games, and we got 1 win, and we kind of started rallying around ourselves. And lately, the Crunk's been playing the Game of the Thrones. The Kings have been back and keeping the rest of the league north of the wall. So it's been a little bit different for us in the North Stars locker room. But if I got traded to the Ducks right now, you just got whoever gets into that locker room is just have to bring high energy and high tempo, maybe be that rallying cry that they don't necessarily have, because when Ben's not there, when Ben is there, he's a great guy, but sometimes it's good to bring fresh blood in and be able to.
So you're not necessarily taking it in a negative. You're thinking you're the difference to get them into the playoffs.
Oh, you have to. I mean, if you get traded to the worst team in the league, which arguably, I mean,
based on standings at this point.
Based on standings, yeah. I mean, you can't go in that mindset, because I mean, unless you're like literally 2 games left in the season and you can't make the playoffs, then it's just like formalities at that point. But that's not how this league was designed or made. The trade deadlines before that. So if I'm going into that locker room, I'm thinking, let's go, boys. We're going to the ship.
We will not be trading Spicy. I will say on draft day, we had the decision between Cam and Spicy, and Troy and I. It was a tough decision, but we kind of had. The North Stars have never been afraid to just take the new guys, whether it was for Trecht and Walshy. And, we had some games with Cam, and he's an amazing goalie, but we decided on Spicy because we just went the suits route over Pete. We decided to go Judge. Like, we don't know anything about these guys, really. So we said, we'll just go take new guys, and we've been more than happy with Spicy. Then the other tough call was sitting there with Graham and Rubel. That was on our plate, but Graham was sitting right next to us, and we felt uncomfortable.
That's a big man that could do work in the corner.
Yeah, we're like, I'm like, I think we should take Rubel. Troy's like, me too. Like, Graham's sitting right next to us. I'm like, let's take Graham. So we took Graham, and honestly, it's worked out great because Rubel, he always disappoints, just like in the bedroom from his girlfriend. So we're very happy with that. But those were our tough decisions. It was a Spicy or Cam, and Graham or Rubel, and we were happy with both those decisions.
You do really have some inside sources, apparently.
Yeah.
I think as far as getting traded to a team like that, a lot of it also depends on what the trade is. If it's something like Ty was saying, where he's like, I look at this trade, and I'm like, what are they doing? This is going to make their team worse, and you're part of that trade, and you look at it, and you're just like, I got traded to this team, and it's bad for the team, and you kind of evaluate the team. Now, if you get traded, and you're looking like, okay, this is going to make the team I'm going to better. I think it's going to help us. We're only 4 points out. It's a whole different story. That's rah, get the troops going. But if you actually look at a trade, and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I like this right now. That's where it kind of gets down. And, I think a lot of us have played on teams before that haven't had the best start, or things their morale's down or whatever. And that's never a fun thing to happen.
No, it isn't. And you always want to be in the mix and try to get out there. But you also don't want to play an entire season worth of games, even in beer league hockey. Like if you go play in other leagues at Troy, elsewhere, or Fraser, it's like we played 20 games and they've all been meaningless because we all make the playoffs. Woo! Like what do you play 20 games for then? I mean, these calls literally just be shitty. I could go to drop in when I want and then show up when I don't want. Like to me, that's a nice thing about Monday Night Lights, even though it's a little savage, is having at least one team cut off. At least it puts relative value on the league in the regular season.
Yeah, that last season was weak at the very end, and then I don't know what the Americans did, some not crazy trade, Manny. I don't think it was crazy, Manny. I'm sorry, it was not crazy. It just wasn't. It was just kind of a weird trade, but it just sucked that there was nothing to be lost by.
I think to be fair to the Americans last year was they knew their team wasn't good, and they knew they had to try to pull something off to help out the team, so they did it where it's better than just sitting back and just going down with the ship. So you got to give them credit.
The trade.
You got to give them some credit on that side of things. So
I feel like if you're gonna make a move, if you're the Ducks, this is like this next 2 weeks are the time to do it, especially because you have a game in hand on the Deeks. You play the Deeks when you get back. So I mean, you had a big next 3 weeks when they get here in the schedule. You give me that weird face, like what?
No, well, the Deeks and the Mighty Ducks have both played 9 games, so they've played the same amount of games.
No, but the Ducks coming into this week have a bye, and then when they get off of their bye 2 weeks from now, and the 25th is it? Yeah, I love it, November 25th, and the Ducks come off their bye. They play the Nordiques. So next week the Ducks will have a game at hand. So if the Nordiques lose next week, the Nordiques are still 6 points ahead of the Ducks, but the Ducks have a game at hand and play the Nordiques. So hypothetically, 4 weeks from now, we could be sitting at a point where the Deeks and the Ducks are tied with 1 game left in the second rotation. Like I said earlier, the Ducks will have a chance to catch the Deeks. It just kind of comes down to easily. I mean, there's still a lot of games left, but it kind of comes down to what they're going to do this upcoming 2 weeks, where they want to change in-house, reach out for a trade, make something happen. And the Deeks should consider maybe making a trade or making a move too, because they're only 2 games ahead of the Ducks, and I mean they're on the longest losing streak right now. And the Monday Night Lights, they have an even longer losing streak than the Ducks do. They've lost 4 games straight. So
yeah, and even though I'm not a fan of 7 teams in the bye week, I do think having the 7th team and having one team not make the playoffs have made the league more interesting. It's kind of weird, though, because it's had the league focus a lot on that bottom of the league, where I think every week on the podcast, we're kind of like, game of the week, who are the 2 lowest teams playing each other? This is the biggest crucial ordeal where, I think in a perfect, hopefully we'll get there in the next year to 5 years, something like that. Get 8 teams, have the bottom 2 teams possibly not make it, so you still have stuff riding on. Don't have every team still make it to have no buys on top of that situation.
Who subbed for Turtle yesterday?
Graham. Oh. He's not, and Graham's a nice player, but he's not a Turtle difference maker.
I mean, I had a guy to plug in for Turtle, but I was told specifically that you can't bring in subs into the league to try out. You have to bring in subs to show up on Fridays or Saturdays first, Panny.
Well,
and lo and behold,
we're getting your guy, if he's dedicated, bring him in Fridays.
Panny's got a guy. Yeah, Panny's got a guy that shows up, hasn't played before.
We watched him play Friday at WBW.
I didn't hear about that. No one said that.
Oh no! He's United Nations, who a team we
he played on the other rink before, a different rink before WBW games. So I know Trent and Dougie went and checked him out, saw him skate a little bit, not enough, but to know that he wasn't like heads and shoulders above, a ringer type of thing. So I do agree. We have enough Saturday skates, hopefully, where someone can get out there when we want to. It is tough on those situations, though.
I'm rooting for the Ducks, and I think they do have hope. I mean, I hope Turtle comes back, and whatever, if he has to wear condoms or take showers, whatever it is to prevent any kind of fungi that he had. I don't know what exactly he was doing, what kind of a dirty son of a bitch he is. But, hopefully he finds out what he did wrong and he corrects that. And Ben's got to step up. I mean, you know what Sugar is. Sugar, this is not going to be popular, but Sugar holds on to the puck too much. He doesn't pass enough. But that's why I would put him on the second line, grind line, and just isolate him, and because he's going to do what he does regardless of his line mates. Then you got to put Ben. Ben's got to act like he wants to win. Ben is the friendly old guy who writes, does creative cards and all this stuff, and he's just the mayor of the whole league and the friendly guy. But Ben's got to want to win. I mean, Ben
did score the only goal last night for them.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, 6-1. Congratulations. I need to know that when I've played against their team, and I just need to feel that Ben wants to win. Ben, go out there and win a goddamn game.
He put the team on his back when he was playing against us. When he scored the only goal on us when we won 2-1. So I mean, Ben, I feel like Ben is kind of like the guy in the locker room. Like he is the high energy guy. Like you're kind of saying, but you want to see more of it. It's just right now they've lost some handful of games in a row.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's a little handcuffed. It might not be unfair.
Everyone in the locker room is just kind of despondent. Maybe that does include Ben a little bit.
But then again, since we're talking about Ben, if you look at Ben's history, he's you talk about before you said history. You have a Joe Ellis, you had a DaveP. You look at those guys, you're like the curse of these guys. Ben's right in those levels, and I think I said it during preseason. It's not because of the player he is. Ben, his draft position gets elevated so much because what kind of locker room guy he is, what a great guy he is, where you want him on your team, and you probably then every year he probably goes a round and a half higher than what he should, and it's almost like the curse of Ben that he's just too great of a guy.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
So that's always a tough.
But he's got it in him. I felt like when he first came to the league, I remember those first few games, he was fucking sniper city. And I don't know if maybe I ran into him a couple times or something, and he just kind of
hernia surgeries, man. Hernia surgeries.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, that's
look him at Cabrera.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's kind of fallen back into the old man, happy to be here kind of guy, and he's dragged.
He also almost I think he did take a puck off his mouth last night.
Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, and he was telling me about the story. Oh, speaking of which, this is a random tangent, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now. We're just kind of like rambling, anyways. But the Tigers were really great last night at headhunting. I almost got hit in the bucket 6 times, and Ben wanted to tell me a story about that. He's like, "Oh, by the way, when I was in juniors, my dad and me had to put this cage all the way up halfway above my helmet. I'll tell you when I'm on the Bat Blue party deck, and then we never went out there." So
yeah, I would still say Ben, anybody else who's wearing those cages, or half shields, wear a cage. I mean,
please.
I don't know. It's just we've all seen what happened with DaveP. It's not a fun situation. I'd hate to happen again. Where I don't think necessarily D-League players, you could be high enough skill where you don't need a cage, but you're wearing it because of the other people around you whose skill's lower, who might do something that they don't mean to do. So, no one wants an injury.
I agree.
Do we have anything on next on the topic, Piercy, or are we getting into the Who Power Rankings?
Well, no, I'd like to just say a shout out there to the Officer Riley, and because I like to talk about my feelings, and I appreciate that our relationship has gone and grown into. It's almost like Piercy and I. When I first met Piercy, and he was in those drop-in skates, and he was wearing that fucking annoying white Michigan sweatshirt. Oh, he thought he was good, and I couldn't tell. I didn't even know Rattler from Serda. I just hated them all because they'd all come pestering down like little bees. But then there was this one guy wearing the Michigan one that thought he was as good as Serda and Rattler, and always giving me these nudges. And at first I'm like, I'm gonna knock that fucker out. That was my thought every time. This is gonna be the game where he just gives me that little extra elbow, and I'm gonna fucking deck him. I never did, and I'm glad I didn't. But Officer Riley and I had got off our relationship off to a bad start during my first 1 or 2 MNL reffing games, and we had that Q-Tip character going off House and Q-Tip and Riley, and it was basically because it was Riley got rammed by Drago, and Drago, I recognized that Drago had no ability to stop, and nothing happened, and I didn't call, and Riley got mad at me, and I was a rookie referee, and Q-Tip came over hugging me and holding me, and I was giving the cop I was giving Riley the tearjerker thing, but now Riley and I are just chirping whenever I ref, whenever I play with him. He's just a good guy, and he's always giving me shit when I call for the puck, you should get it, little friendly stuff, and I really appreciate that. And Officer Riley, love you, buddy. So
I agree with Riley. Anytime Ty calls for the puck, the North Star should give it to him. So.
I appreciate that we've gotten past our past, and we forget that game. I mean, we got rid of that rotten apple Q-Tip.
Yeah, I don't know where this hate came from. I never felt this rivalry between us. I mean, maybe because people so lower in skill than me, I just don't consider rivals. I don't know. But anyways, last thing of the week is next week we have the Nordiques versus the Americans, North Stars, Whalers, and the Golden Seals versus the Tigers. Like we said before, the Ducks are on a much needed bye, especially hopefully that gives Turtle another week to get back sooner. What's our main insight of this next week coming up?
This next week, if there could be a Wednesday night rivalries or a Monday night rivalries in NBC, whatever you want to call it, all three games would be on the stack because the Deeks are in must-win mode. Like they don't want to go in to their following week. And then
Deeks are playing who?
The Deeks are playing the Americans.
Okay.
And if they go in the following week after that playing against the Ducks, if they were to lose against the Ducks, they have a bye week after that. So that means like they have one game. They have one game here to give them another like 3-point cushion before they play the Ducks. If they were to like hypothetically lose in worst case scenario sort of thing. So it's like a must-win situation for them. Obviously, they have 4 games lost.
That's a big must-win versus the Americans.
Yeah. So they have a big must-win game on a 4-game losing streak. It's the two hottest teams in Monday Night Light. The Whalers and North Stars play at Olympic prime time, 10 p.m. The only two teams in Monday Night Lights that has a winning streak of at least 2 games or more.
Who is? Are we the 9 p.m.?
And then you guys are the 9 p.m.
That's
against,
a huge game too. The Tigers are
you
good.
Guys, you guys and the Tigers
it's an
play
absolute
for
dogfight. I hope.
because
I hope they get a full roster there and we get a full roster.
They're going to have a chip on their shoulder because they didn't score any goals last week, and they're
well,
going to put some
and
pucks in the net against you guys.
gave a goal to Sniper last night.
Exactly. So
Jesus.
There's. I mean, all 3 games are looking hot. So cue
That's
into
a great slate.
Yeah, turn it into Monday Night Lights Twitch channel and check out these games.
Every week, there's important matchups. Everything has to do with the playoffs. Am I a bad person as like?
Yes. Oh. Wait, I'm sorry. Were we supposed to wait? Were we supposed to wait for the... Go ahead. Go ahead.
But is it bad of someone to be like, until teams like the North Stars and the Whalers are like firmly locked into the playoffs to hope that those bottom teams just keep losing?
No, I think that makes you
that's
freaking
fair. I mean,
a
you're
human
rooting
being.
for your own team. Yeah, you're rooting for your own team. It's what it is. So I mean, if you want Proctor and the Americans to win, you want Proctor and the Americans to win. I can't slam you for it, but
yeah, I just feel bad about it because it's one of those things, especially as the Whalers, we got off to our slow start, and then we got to I think second to last, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh man, what the hell's going on? It's just like you just need those bottom teams to keep losing. I think the North Stars were in that situation for a while, and now that we've started to get on our little streaks, hopefully gain some points, kind of get out of that. Fear on there is hopefully once we lock in, then you can kind of cheer for those lower teams maybe to start winning some games.
Yeah,
You say that as if you're not part of the lower teams. Aren't you guys 4th in the standings or 5th?
We're currently 4th. We're 1 point behind the North Stars, but we have played one less game as well.
Yeah, they're all right there. I was looking at it today.
Yeah.
Even though we're at 18, it's like if we lose, North Stars win. They're a point behind us. Obviously, the Americans are right there, and the Whalers are right there too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's very tight.
It's tight all around. There's nobody I think that's clinched that bottom spot. Even though the Seals, they got that. The Seals 18 points. They have the extra game in hand. 17 points for the Americans. So I don't even think those bye weeks are fully clinched, as like you're saying. So you play a head-to-head matchup against those teams. You beat them. All things turn upside down, and you just got to make up 1 point, which is very made-upable. And we still have one other. You're gonna like a lot of the teams. We have to play every team at least one more time. A lot of the teams we're still playing twice. So if you sweep those games, you're in the driver's seat to get those positions you want.
Real quick, circling back either to podcast 1 or second podcast, I think it was you, Hetes, that was saying how many points it would take to guarantee a playoff spot. It was like 17 or 18 points. Is like
so that was me that was like looking at past seasons, kind of like
what was
where
that
they
number?
were.
17 or 18 points.
So this is a guess because we did go down I think 3 games from last year.
What was that number?
And kind of there. My guess was 16 to 18 points you needed.
So the Seals are in, baby. Woo! Pop the bottles. We got 18.
Start resting players.
Start
Fister,
resting.
you're
Yep.
benched.
Kawhi Leonard style. We just better start game management.
And if you look at it too, we have any team that's played 9 games, which is the Seals, the North Stars, the Ducks, and the Nordiques. Their season is now half over. So if you have a team like the Ducks who have 6 points, you double that, it's 12. So like I said, I was saying 16 to 18. I was saying 16 was probably low point. But if you looked at it, like those bottom teams in history have been super low, where that second to last place team, that's kind of that range of the 16 to 18, but they made they had that spot by quite a few points. So it could be, even less than that to clinch
We know how
that spot.
all know how in season 2 that last place team did in the playoffs. Right. I think we swept the North Stars. Ooh,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. So you just gotta get to the dance. So like what Piercy said, I mean, you're at halfway point of the season, and You're going to look to hopefully get to that 18-point mark. I mean, there's 27 points left possible after you've played 9 games. So you have 9 games left. And you're not going to take all 27 in this type of league.
Yeah, so that's it on the agenda. What
Wait,
are these?
I had one other
go
thing.
ahead.
I just wanted to come out and say I don't think you're a serial killer.
You haven't seen his basement.
Yeah.
So you were nice enough to allow me to or give us a lead on selling or buying your sister's
Sounds like
house
an
with her
OFP
brother.
plug.
This is an OFP plug. If you need a realtor, please call Ty, Troy, or Todd. But when I walked into the very first house with your sister and your mom and dad were there, your mom, I just say, "Hey, how you doing?" And then the first line she said to me was, "You think my son's a serial killer?" Before she even said hi. That's what she said. So it caught me. I'm like, okay. I even showered that day. I shaved that day. I was trying. I'm like, first impression. And then she hits me with, before hello, "You think my son's a serial killer?" And I'm like, how did she know that Troy, Ty, and I had a vote? If there was one serial killer in the league, it was Brian Piercy. I'm like, how did she know this? So I'm like, oh, fuck.
Piercy's viewing the mic.
I didn't know what to do exactly. So I'm just like, Troy and Todd voted. I voted no. And so played it.
Throw you under the bus.
Even though I was a firm yes. But, yeah, I don't think you're a serial killer. But, that just because I voted you most likely to be a serial killer doesn't mean you are one. And
It doesn't mean I can't have a one-off on you.
Big wolf.
I appreciate you having us out here. And I think the new guys in the league are fantastic. I'd like a little more Slack participation. I took today off Slack because I figured I was going to be out here.
The
And I'm like,
Seals new
I
guys
don't.
are Dylan's a huge
I'm like,
Slack
and the
guy.
North Stars have been on the podcast. I think we've represented very well. I think Slack. I took today off. Like, I never take Slack off. I'm always there trying to rile people up or say obnoxious things about the North Stars. But I didn't do it today because I'm like, all right, I'm going to be on the podcast, so I don't want to burn myself out. And it was kind of quiet today. Finally, I'm glad Pistol got out there. But, the new guys are good. I think we got a good crop of people. I'd like to get Chad out there on the North Stars. Chad, we're coming for you. I want to get the Huggy line out there one time this season.
That'd be sick.
I mean, I think
Yep.
we've got a lot of smart. That's a smart line. Add an Asian to
Wait,
any line.
wait. Smart line. Who's on that line besides Chad?
Troy was smarter than the average line I'm on because he had an Asian, and we're gonna be good at math.
Yeah, it'd be Chad,
So-
Chad, Troy, and Ty.
Yeah, it's a smart.
The Hug line, baby.
Hey, we
The
played last
TCT.
year. We were down 5-1 to the Americans. We came back and won. That's a fact. So
Wow.
yeah, and the Huggy line did all the damage. So hopefully that does. But I appreciate you having us, and it was fun.
So what are these hoo-ha or woo-ha or
The
whatever?
hoo-hoo power rankings are the whoop 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 hoo, and it's I don't know how it came about, but Polinsky was talking about it. I'm like, well, there is a hoo-hoo power rankings.
So what does that mean? I'm
Whoop
clueless.
emoji too. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The hoo, baby. And you say something good. I don't know. It's Whitney Houston. I want to dance with somebody. Hoo, baby. It's the analytics of the Seals locker room. This is like Saber Matrix stuff that you guys just don't understand. And so they were rooting for some power rankings. So here we go. Top 5. Number 5, Turtle Tim. He does the hoo-hoo. It's always Turtle Tim. It's always spot on point. He does, doesn't throw it out there all the time, but it'll be like kind of hoo-hoo, and he'll do it, lower key than the whoop, lower key like this, and it's, hoo-hoo, Turtle, but it's always spot on. Number 4, Sean Eisenberger. Very similar to Turtle Tim. Always spot on. Kind of low like this, but then he'll get the hands up a little higher, so it's like hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Then Polinsky is just like those two, and that's hoo-hoo here. And then number 2 is Panty Dropper, and he's got the hands up, he's got the hoo-hoo-hoo, all the emoji, but you can tell the heart's not there. Number 1 is Jeremy Cone, who leads the league in the emoji. Hoo-hoo-hoo, baby! Seals are number 1! Jeremy Cone! And those are your top 5 hoo-hoo power rankings. Turtle Tim, Shawnee, Polinsky, Drager, Cone.
Things you didn't want to know, but now you do.
Things you didn't know, and now you know.
Our ratings are going to go up now just because of that. That's fantastic.
It's the hoo-hoo, baby! It's an answer for everything.
So
Welcome to the Seal Life.
apparently that was worth the wait. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is part of my old guy mentality. I
Well,
don't know.
Piercy noticed he doesn't even crack the top 10 on the list, and he's been a seal and a worm forever. Piercy's never given the hoo-hoo. He's too serious. Oh, baby.
I was part of the inaugural Seals
I
Championship.
know, and you never
keg
give the
win.
hoo-hoo. I know we won a championship together. He doesn't even know how to do it right. He's doing like the bushwhacker. He's got to get a little hoo-hoo.
That has not. That's because I have no rhythm.
I don't. Well, you're looking at the king of no rhythm. I mean, I'm afraid to dance on a dance floor.
Aren't we all? But yeah. So was this as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No, I was looking forward to it.
I think Ty did very well. I'd give Ty an A and Whoop a C-.
If I hurt any feelings, I apologize. It's just I pretty much said it how I see it, with no harm meant.
You're honest, and that's what the people like.
So yeah, as always, feel free to give us a call on the Whoop line 714-75-WHOOP.
We got no voicemails
Oh,
tonight.
you guys are assholes. No one gave me a call, and
I know. What a bunch of jerks.
How do you feel about the Whoop line being named after you?
I mean, hoo-hoo, baby. I like it.
Cue it right now. Let's get Jesus.
But yeah, so email the show, podcast@mnlhl.com. Follow, subscribe to Twitch as always. But anyways, for the crew, I think we are over.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Piercy and Hetes. It was fun.
Where'd your treadmill go?
My sister took it. So we're over. We'll talk to you later. Bye.